So, hello. We would like to welcome you at the next podcast
Hello.
about weddings. I'm Julius,
I'm Sophie.
and we are here to talk to you about how you can start a wedding business yourself if you're a beginner, and how to join this beautiful industry.
Definitely. I would like to know how. I remember we talked just a little bit about how you started videography, and maybe also wedding, but maybe you can share a little bit how you developed into getting more clients or couples, yeah, becoming more demanded.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Definitely. So, I started by shooting a first wedding for almost nothing. It was just for my friends. They asked me because they liked my travel videos, so that's how I started. But they asked me if I could shoot their wedding because I had a pretty good video camera. So I decided to go for it, and I shot the whole day of their beautiful wedding. It was my first one. I remember like I paid attention to all the details. I was a little bit nervous, but not that much because I had some experience like from the club settings and from the travel videos, and I knew what I was doing, so that was great. But yeah, the whole day passed by super quick, and I think I caught all the beautiful moments, all the important moments. Of course, when I see it now, I know it's maybe a little bit slow paced. I don't like the colors of the video because I evolve, right? And now I have even better equipment, maybe better taste a little bit, and I would definitely color it differently, maybe different shots, but they love it till now. I think Klarka and Filip, they were an amazing couple, and they are still, of course. And that's how I started. But how I got more clients, I would say that I had a lot of photographers as a friends. So I don't think I wasn't part of any Facebook groups or anything back then. I just had friends who are photographers and they did weddings too. And when people asked, they recommended me, so that helped a lot. They were super nice. Tomáš Bederka, Martin Večeřa, Petr Zátka, actually, good friends. And yeah, they helped me to get more.
So referrals.
Yeah, referrals, so I could expand my portfolio and get better every time I went to shoot something. And then of course, when people started seeing my work, which I always publish on YouTube, so I built like portfolio there. So then people from my circles, they started to ask and they saw what I do. So sometimes they even recommended me, just like family and friends. And of course, the past clients also helped me to recommend my services. Yeah. So that's how I think I started. But I know that for beginners it's super hard. Like first of all, the barrier to enter the market is not that hard. Like it's not that high. You just need to buy the equipment, right? So you need to do research and learn about the equipment, and then you just need to keep trying. So I think the best way is to ask around, even like now the Facebook groups, and tag along, just find someone, even if you have friends, go with them, do wedding for free. Don't promise anything, like don't try to oversell yourself, because you never know what's gonna happen, or things can go wrong, like your battery dies, camera drops, or something happens, and then you should definitely have a backup. But as a beginner, I'm sure you don't have extra camera with you, body lenses. So I would say to tag along. How about you? What would you say? What is the good way to start?
Referrals, definitely.
Yeah.
Of course, apart from getting the equipment, buying the equipment, thank you. Buying the correct equipment, getting the money to buy the equipment, because it's so expensive. And if you want to, yes, they say like you don't need to have the top-notch equipment and everything, but there is a big difference actually with a high quality
With the
camera
final
and
result,
lenses.
yeah.
There
and
is
the reliability too, right?
Absolutely, that's true. So apart from having means to buying the equipment, just one camera and maybe one versatile lens would do the justice, for the beginning, and one flash. But referrals, and yes, if, for example, in my case, it's a little bit difficult to tag along with someone because of the language barrier that I still go through, right?
So in the Czech market, right?
In the local Czech market, it's difficult because just of the language, even though, as I said, a lot of people speak English and it's not a huge problem, but then I don't want to bring extra like a little bit of uneasiness to the couple.
Stress.
Exactly. So but definitely tag along on any event that you can. True. So you have some experience.
It doesn't have to be only wedding, right?
Right. Yes. Like, for example, the club low light photo shoots definitely helped me, for example. Yeah, right. Now when I go in there, it's so easy. You barely even think of much like what to adjust. It just comes naturally through your fingers, right?
Absolutely.
So I would say that. But
let me just, about the tagging along, you kind of want to do that if you don't have experience with weddings, because you need to know, you need to personally see and live through it through the day, so you know what to expect. Have some experience in this field, like where to stand, what's so important. You have to be ready for light to change, especially if it's outside, which it usually is, and you just have to be ready for everything. So I think the communication with the couple, communication with the photographer on the spot or some other videographers, and with the families in general, it's also important, and that's the best way to learn, right? You observe and
exactly
participate too. That's important. You need to be thrown in the field, so you do even uncomfortable things, right? Some people don't like to talk much. Like, I know one videographer actually, and he's super bad with people. He like hates doing weddings just because of this. So he tags along with his friend. Martin Večeřa is the photographer. He tags along with Martin, and then Martin is super talkative and social, so he does all this heavy lifting for him, and he just stands somewhere and shoots, and then he has the video. So,
well, kind of seems like what we do in here in Czech Republic. You do the talking because you're Czech and you speak Czech, and then,
but if there's no language barrier, then we have no issue.
That's what I said about in the Czech Republic.
But sometimes. Yeah, it's important. As I said, if your photographer and videographer don't know each other, it's important just to communicate, because everyone is a human and they just want to do the best. So, and you don't want to spoil someone's, not even like just spoiling the work of the other professional, but you don't want to spoil the memories for the couple.
Yeah, of course.
Like, for example, a first kiss, and then I don't know, you jump in the photographer's shot, that's the best. But photographer can still move and relocate quickly, just like out of the shot, and maybe save it. But as a videographer, I don't think you would appreciate the shot.
Yeah.
And sometimes the first kiss is super quick. Sometimes it's like slow and takes long, which is great because you have chance to get different angles. But yeah, I would say that the communication and just the experience from the field is super important and necessary to just get better.
Yeah.
But I guess it's in every field like this, right?
Yeah, practice makes it perfect.
Exactly.
So get the equipment, get as much experience and let's say the work opportunities, or it doesn't have to be work, but let's just say the photography, videography opportunities. You can even start as a second shooter. It doesn't have to be really lead.
Absolutely. And can you explain what is the second shooter?
So basically, second shooter is you hire a main photographer or a videographer, and that person brings along a second person who will do maybe it's a second shooter, and that person will do
different angles.
Different angles. It
holds
will work.
The reflector plate, for lights. You just like assistant and
different lenses, so it gets different side of the event apart from the lead person.
Quick interruption, guys.
If you'd like to support us, please make sure that you like our videos, you subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends.
If you have anything to add or ask, feel free to comment down below. Yeah.
So yeah, actually a lot of already well-established photographers and videographers who use second shooter.
Absolutely.
So it's a great opportunity to observe a highly experienced professional. You learn a lot, because when you already are regarded as in a high demand, that means that you are not just master of your craft, but also master of the personal relationships, and you know how to deal with people, how this high stress situation. So it's, I think you don't even have to tag along with someone for free if you just get a gig for as a second shooter. That already is a great start. And then once you, I think contact list is another third thing, let's say, that is important when you start getting into this business, because you need referrals and you need people to know your work and then to share that work so that your name is somehow floating around and caught by the right person who likes it.
You're right, it's absolutely super important, and I actually didn't do this at the start because I took it as a nice hobby, and it still is nice hobby, but I underestimated this, and I think my reach could be much bigger if I did this and actually shared my contacts with the wedding organizers, the venues.
Yeah.
Because I felt I was there for the people and I felt super close to them and I wanted to deliver, but I should have socialized more and spread the social circles.
Yeah, I agree, because you have what, almost 7-8 years of experience in wedding photography, right? So that's quite a lot, and it's been a constant experience. But just because you took it as a hobby or let's say a summer job over a weekend, you missed out the chance of thinking it maybe long term.
Yeah, and I didn't want to have every weekend weddings and be like slammed with work, but now that I see it, I should have, because it's you can always choose, right, how much time you're gonna dedicate, how many days you will offer, so it's always up to you.
Definitely. And what do you think would be an advice for inter-destination wedding market?
Like how to
start?
Well, again, I think the easiest way is to have some friends getting married or their friends abroad, and them inviting you for a wedding. I think that's an amazing way. If you just get invited and you can do the work for them, because that's the easiest way to get there and do some great work, and that already expands your portfolio. But from personal experience, I didn't shoot any weddings abroad until I think last year, but we managed because of the Facebook groups, right? We just reached out to people, and also we scored the weddings because we hardcore undercut the price.
Yeah.
I remember doing wedding as a videographer in Italy, the price was $500. And I know the photographer at the spot got paid $5,000. So
yeah, that's
I don't regret it. It was an amazing experience, and the people were absolutely amazing, and I couldn't have asked for better. And I enjoyed the area, scenery. It was just up to me that I messed up with the flights and I had to drive like 6-8 hours non-stop and didn't sleep. But it was experience, and it helped to expand the portfolio. And I also got experience from the photographer, because he told me the price, he told me how it goes, how he's partner with many venues, and how easy it is for him to. And I saw, that was the first time that I realized how hardcore and important is that sharing and resharing and tagging actually on social media, because he posted some pictures and he tagged the couple and he tagged the vendors and just everyone, and I wasn't used to this, so, and I saw how important it is, because you help other people grow too, And it's not that I wouldn't tag before, but I just
didn't think of it, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to deliver the best I could to my couples and make them happy, but didn't think of expanding the field and getting familiar and the context. Yeah,
I guess that's another point that we can add to how to get into wedding. What do we say? Production, like videos and photos, right? It can be that wedding industry, that you make connections with other vendors as well, because the wedding is never just two people unless you do a destination elopement in Seychelles where you do everything on your own. But usually you have makeup artists, florists, the venue itself, of course, the catering. So it's a huge group of people coming together, and once you establish connection with one of them, then there is a big chance that when they will have a couple who is in need of a photographer or a videographer, then they would think of you, like, hey, we worked with Julius, he's really nice, he does amazing videos, we will recommend. Or when you tag other vendors on your post, that appears on their tagged section. So if me as a bride like some makeup artist and I go and see, because that's what I usually do, you know, when I like some photographer or when I like something, I also go to tag. So to see the real like reality, right? Because you can post a lot of touch-ups,
and you can see the vendors, right?
And then you sometimes photographers don't really show their face, so I try to find what they look like through tag. But then as a bride, you can also see that if this makeup artist was tagged into beautiful picture taken by a photographer or a video, you know, then that can be a potential couple as well. So that's a good point.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So would you add anything to this topic? Anything else that you can think of?
No, definitely easy to enter. Let's say.
Also, you have to save the money for the equipment, but then it's easy to enter, right? Because as we said in previous podcasts, like I feel like people just buy whatever DSLR or mirrorless cameras and they already, wow, we're pros, hire us. So I think people should really have self-reflection a little bit and don't cheat the couples, you know, like they rely on you and maybe you get some touched up. Or I've seen even web pages of stolen pictures and they said, hey, this is my portfolio and it was stolen. Just like picture, oh, I like this picture, so they probably stole it, put it on their web and presented it as their work to get hired. So
that's crazy.
So that's not the way to go, I think. And
I think that's absolutely the wrong way to do it. And people scam. There are so many scams. Be honest, and the work will come, and then the more experience, the better quality also you deliver, I guess. One more thing actually about this, I have recently noticed also through Facebook groups, because there's a lot of chit-chatting and gossiping, and especially among the brides. You know how now the content creator for the weddings is really popping, especially in the US, it's big thing. So it kind of is a cheaper replacement of a videographer of that day, or also it's like a personal social media assistant that you can have for the weddings. But I've noticed now that a lot of girls who do this now have switched to being photographers, because I'm not sure the reasons why, but my understanding is that they might want to have more professional looking content, because as I said, even though modern cell phones produce amazing pictures, there's still a big difference. But I think there is a bit of a higher demand on photographers and let's say professional products, like pictures and videos, than the content creator. So maybe that can be a start for someone, and then they can slowly transition into photos or videos.
Absolutely, because they can see how the wedding day goes. They can experience many wedding days like this and create just on their phone, right? I've seen also the full weddings shot on iPhone.
Yeah, that's true.
But like if you know what the quality is like supposed to be or what it could be, and you watch video from a phone, then you can tell. But the couples might not all the time because they don't have much experience. But I'm sure if they would have direct comparison of the day shot on iPhone and camera, shot similar way, maybe by the same person, then the difference would be visible definitely. You cannot compare like the $3,000 camera and phone, right?
Yeah, yeah. But to be fair, the video I've seen from you is also from a professional videographer, so even the angles, and he even sets it up a little bit more professionally, just like a phone on a tripod, right? So that makes a bonus point for him rather than me trying to take a wedding on an iPhone video.
And plus still people need to invest even on a phone for like better app, let's say, that allows them to do more, and filters for the phone too, because video, you cannot be really cheated. The shutter speed, you have to change it, and you need sunglasses for your phone or camera, so you just need to buy filters because they sell filters for phones too. So
yeah, and also shot in RAW, right? So that's why you need also specific app for that, because you cannot kind of color the footage directly from the phone on a high quality.
Well, yeah, but even iPhone now shoots in log, which is easier or better for post-production. So that's amazing. Like,
yeah, but you know, it just reminds me of the travel videos that you make, and that, you know, at the end you always put bloopers or some things that didn't make it, and then a lot of shots come from phone, and there is a big difference, you know, between your main video and then those behind the scenes or bloopers or whatever from the phone, you know. In one video you can see the difference.
Yes, absolutely. There is the sharpness, artificial, and
so.
But it's in travel videos, I think it's fine because
of course.
All right, so that was the topic on how you can start and join the wedding business. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next one.